Okay, guys, so we are back once again for Book the Ticket, and this time we are going to be talking a lot about how Hollywood is kind of in this weird shift, if you will. Now, I am, of course, your host, Armin. You guys can find me on Twitter at Arminis, and I am here with Mitch.
What's up? You can find me at Mitch692.
So, Mitch, I didn't want to make this an official topic or anything. I just kind of want to get your input on it. Have you heard of that whole Movie Pass deal?
Yes. The
Okay.
one where you pay a certain amount a month and like you can see unlimited movies or whatever.
Yes, so it's actually like in the US, I don't know how it is anywhere else or if it's launched anywhere else, but it just actually became available where I live in Vermont, where everything is last to become available if it's of any value. So I signed up for it and I signed up my wife for it. So it's going to be $20 a month for both of us. And essentially, I've started checking the local theaters and stuff. And yeah, once every 24 hours, you can see any movie you want. So like we were going through our schedule where, okay, well, we didn't want to waste like $30 to see this movie, but oh, okay, I guess we'll see this one. I guess we'll see this one. And from what I see, just searching Movie Pass, it seems to be taking off. Like their subscription numbers, since they really like did a hard launch on February 1st, have gone up. People are talking about it now. I was actually at the theater to watch Jumanji like a couple days ago, and two people ahead of me actually had their Movie Pass app pulled up, and they were just like, "Oh, done, bought our tickets." I was like, "Oh, huh." Like, it's rather interesting. I think Hollywood is finally in like midst of a like seismic shift to how we consume movies, which we're actually going to talk about in this show, which is why I kind of wanted to bring up the Movie Pass.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because over here, like the two biggest theatre chains, which are Cineworld and Odeon, have had like movie passes for years at this point. And like before, I think Cineworld started it. Before it was something like 10 quid a month, and you could see any amount of movies a day.
Whoa.
And like, I remember once I did like a 3 movie show back to back. And that was I don't recommend that. It's crazy. It hurts your ass that far.
No, I did
But
that for Back to the Future when they did the marathon, and even though it's my favorite movie of all time, like by the end of the third one, I was like, I am a corpse.
it's just like my legs would never work. But but yeah, no, I think it's a really good idea to be honest. Like, it's sure it didn't work for 3D movies and like certain big movies, but like for the most part, 90% of the movies that came out, you could just watch whenever
From
you
what
wanted.
I've seen, and I talk to the theater that I go to all the time, which I have like a working relationship with, and the only thing that they won't allow it with, and this seems to be across the board, is like, hey, Star Wars, because Disney already wants more of a cut from the theater, so they're not allowing
Yeah.
that for like the first month. But after that, you're free to go at it. So I'm like, this is, I think, going to be big because more and more people are going to subscribe to this. And, I mention it's like, the average family sees 3 to 4 movies a year.
Yeah.
This, in 3 to 4 movies a year, that you're going to, I mean, it costs you less per year to get this than it will to, three to see those 4 movies a year for a family of four. So,
It's what? It's say $20 a month, did you say?
yeah, for two people.
So how much is a usual ticket?
Oh my God. Where I go in the United States, like in Vermont, the average ticket is $11.50. In New York, the average ticket's like $14.50.
So you see like 3 movies and you're already like quids in.
I mean, yeah, like it's that simple. Like there is no
Yeah.
reason not to have this at this point. And like I just looked around the places I go to where I travel for Comic Cons or something like that. Pretty much every theater is accepting the Movie Pass. So,
Yeah. I mean, you'd be stupid not to. Like, it brings business in. Like,
mhm.
movie theaters don't make anything off the ticket, so everyone wants food and drinks.
Yep.
So, and like this, it probably won't, but an idea for it would be you can then bring all that stuff down.
Mhm.
So, like, your food and drinks not like a month's wage. It's actually
Yeah.
affordable. Which it hasn't happened over here, but so I doubt it will happen over there. But like, it's something to consider.
It is like when I went and saw Jumanji, I got like 3 popcorns, one for everybody that's there, 3 waters, and like 2 pieces of candy, and it was like $39. I was like,
Oh,
"Ugh."
oh, that's
Yeah.
rough.
That's why I was
That's
lucky. I like
rough.
brought a bunch of protein bars and stuff in my jacket, so I was like, "Hey, I'm taking these from me."
But no, like, I haven't actually had one of these movie passes for years because I don't see that many movies to like warrant. I think it's now like £15 a month.
Ooh. Yeah, that's
So
not
it's
bad
kind of
either.
like
So it's like, but
it,
yeah,
it's Like, if I lived closer to a cinema and actually went regularly, or like lived in a city, I would definitely have this. Like,
Yeah.
no question.
I mean, the point is, like, I'm gonna start going to all the movies now because, like, before I'd be like, I don't want to see this stupid, like, horror X Ouija movie, but Shay does, and I'm like, Shay, I'm not wasting money. You're being dumb. But now I have no excuse. She'll just be like, can we go see the stupid
Yeah.
Ouija 17? I'm like, fine. You know, it's like,
Just be like, no, I cancelled it. I just conveniently cancelled it for this one week.
just this one movie doesn't exist. Look, don't look at the app. Don't worry about it. So yeah, just a quick thing. But if you guys are interested in seeing more movies, definitely check out the Movie Pass because it's definitely going to be somewhat big in the next couple of years. I definitely have a feeling it's going to take off.
Well, hasn't it? Oh, there was numbers released. I think it was yesterday for something. And it's brought like 120 something million.
Yeah,
There's something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was for, but it's like that's a fair amount.
yeah, it's
Something that's
bringing in
new.
customers, which is what you want. You know, it's what you
Yeah.
want and need. So the proper show here. So Solo, a Star Wars story, Mitch, officially released its marketing kickoff and of course trailer and everything. And I'm seeing a lot of mixed stuff, which I haven't really talked to you about it. So where do you land on it?
I mean, it exists. It didn't. It didn't change my mind on it at all. Like, I don't know. It just looked like everything. You know, the whole like, oh, let's just joke about what's going to be in it. It's just like, oh yeah, it's all there.
I mean,
Everything.
it was like a couple podcasts ago at this point, or maybe months ago at this point. We literally were like, okay, let's try to think of the dumbest things they're gonna put in this movie. We're like, okay, so there's gonna be this scene and this scene and this scene, and I'm like, if I go back and just listen to that, I think we were pretty much right. Like,
Probably, like, you know, you no doubt got like the Kessel Mines in there. You got the Imperial stuff. You got the Falcon because you have to.
yeah,
You got Chewie. You got this and you got that. And with the Falcon, you know that middle bit's gonna fall out of the front at some point.
oh yeah, it's
I don't know. It's just a typical prequel, and like, I've got no interest in these anthology Star Wars movies whatsoever. Like, I just don't care. I'm checked out at this point. Unless
So-
it's Episode 9.
here's the thing. Admittedly, and I openly admit, I am a Star Wars fanboy. I am super hyped for this movie just by the virtue that it's Star Wars. And I've said multiple times, I don't need this movie. I don't need it to exist. But just by the fact that it's Star Wars, I am excited by it because it's such a huge part of my life and has been, you know, me growing up. But watching this trailer, it does alleviate some of my concerns because from what we understand, like the former directors, which were fired, they pretty much wanted to make like Ace Ventura in space. And Disney was like, no. So why don't you get the step in and we're going to replace you with Mr. Safety Ron Howard. And this, granted, this movie looks safe. I'm not saying it doesn't. But at worst, it'll be better than the prequels. At best, it'll be better than the prequels.
Nothing will be worse than the prequels. That's just that's rock bottom of any franchise.
Yeah.
But like, you know, just to say something good about it, like, it looks good.
It does.
Like, they've also kind of, it's a double-edged sword really, because they've held it off for probably a bit too long, and everyone's like, oh my god, they're worried about this movie. But at the same time, we haven't seen what it was like before.
Mm-hmm.
So it hasn't got that Rogue One effect, or like the typical reshot movie effect, where it's like, oh, that's different. So you're not going to get any of that, hopefully, or if it's going to be a very small amount. But like, the synth music was cool at the end. Like, that was probably the best part of the trailer for me.
And I do want to just kind of go in here and also talk about some of my complaints about it because I don't want to seem like, oh, I'm just uber fanboying. The trailer, while I thought it was decent, it's missing something, and I don't know what it is. Like the Rogue One trailer.
Yeah,
the last two trailers got me real amped for all the movies. This one I watch, I'm like, I'm going to see this. But something is missing that I can't put my finger on, and I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint what it is.
The problem is their hook in this trailer was the Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
And so, well, you've used that hook for every Star Wars trailer bar Rogue One. Like, that was the hook for Force Awakens. So it's kind of... It's just the impact of it's not there. Like, if this was the first one, maybe but it doesn't help the end of it where it's like, and your name is boom. It's just like, oh, you did that. Yeah. Like, why did you do that? So bad. But I mean, it doesn't look like it would be horrible. It looks fine.
Yeah,
But,
I think that's the best way to describe it. It looks fine.
mm.
And in this day and age where the Star Wars fan base seems to be split, people either like the direction they're going or they don't. I don't think fine is enough. And that's, I think, a
No,
big problem,
no.
you know?
Like, I don't think. Now, people are still obviously going to see it because it's Star Wars.
Oh, of
but
course.
no, I don't know if it'll cross into the billion. I think this might be the first one that doesn't reach it.
I'm
But
sensing a 700 million tops. Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that's not bad. Okay, when I say 700
'Cause
million tops,
it's not bad.
yeah, I'm not saying,
Like,
oh
if
no, it's a failure. It's like, no, that's huge,
No.
but it's a Star Wars movie that's not going to make a billion, you know?
Like it's still 3/4 of what everything else has been making.
Yeah.
But
And, you
no.
know, I do want to say this. We could be wrong. This movie could come out.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
could review at like a 92 on Rotten Tomatoes, and suddenly it makes a billion.2. We have no idea. I mean, look at Black Panther's box office predictions, right? It just keeps going up and up. So anything could
I've
happen in Hollywood.
stopped looking at those. I'm just like, no, you're not going to stop climbing. So what's the point in even looking at it?
Yeah. So
I'll look at those numbers when it's had this weekend. No.
right now, I do just kind of want to roll a little extra Star Wars talk in here just for this, because why not? A new Star Wars trilogy has been announced before
Oh,
this
yeah,
one
I
is even
forgot.
done, and this is next to the other Ryan Johnson trilogy we're getting. So, Mitch, how do you
Is
feel
this
about more movies?
Is this a trilogy? Because they say a series of movies. They don't say a trilogy like they
Honestly,
did with Johnson.
I feel like they're saying a series because it's the safety net way to say it, right?
Yeah.
Like you're kind of being like, well, if it's big, it'll be a big old, you know, but if it's not,
Also, the way they kind of teased it, where it's like, oh, it's going to be set in a period
Oh, it's
of the
Old
Star Wars
Republic.
universe. It's like it just say it's the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about I don't need any of that stuff. Like people are like, oh, but this and that. It's like I just don't care. Like I don't need to know how the Force came about. Like it's just there. I'm
So,
fine with that.
being a Star Wars fanatic, the thing that got me back into Star Wars, heavy Star Wars fandom after, you know, the prequels started and all that, was the Knights of the Old Republic original game on Xbox. I remember just going into GameStop or EB Games at the time, and my friend was like, hey, the new Star Wars game came out. It's like an RPG. I was like, dude, I hate RPGs. He's like, no, you want to try this. This is like when I was like in freshman year of high school, maybe even before that, maybe like 8th grade or something. And like, I picked it up and I played it and I fell in love with that world. Then I got into the comics and stuff. So Old Republic, for a lot of people like myself, I think holds a special place in our heart because it was that big reintroduction, and I think that's why we want it. But I think people got to understand, it's not going to be the Old Republic the way it was in the games, because Disney's going to change that up to a huge degree, and you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah. When did the Old Republic come out?
Oh, like 2002?
See, I was probably playing Kingdom Hearts at that point, so I completely missed Knights of the Old Republic. So I was like, I liked Star Wars growing up. I was never heavy into it. I never really cared that much. So like, all the like, oh my god, we need this. It's just like, it's there. But
So, according to this, July 15th, 2003. So I think I was like finishing up freshman year or something in high school. So it's forever ago, and it holds a real special place in my heart. I still play the MMO, the Old Republic, so it's like I'm real excited at the prospect of more Star Wars, but can we at least wrap up this trilogy, for the love of God?
yeah.
Like, I'm literally looking at 2022, and here's how it's going to go. Marvel film, X-Men film, Star Wars film. Marvel film, X-Men film, Pixar film, Star Wars film. That's going to be the pattern every 3 weeks. Like, it's getting to almost like insane Disney levels where Disney's going to have to run away from Disney at this point. It's that bad,
you're gonna have to pick and choose what you want to watch now.
That's why you gotta go get the movie pass. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean there is that. It's kind of like synergy wise, it's good timing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's They also said that there's going to be or I don't know if they said it, but there's not going to be any main saga films for a while.
Yeah.
Like once 9 comes out, it's like anthology, new trilogy, anthology, new trilogy, anthology. That's kind of like until I see what these new trilogies are.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't care because I don't want any of the anthology movies.
So
I don't want a Kenobi or a Boba Fett or a young Yoda movie. Like, I don't need any of that.
I don't need any of that.
It's like until I actually see what they're planning to do, Star Wars is basically dead to me at the minute.
So
Apart from Episode 9, it's quite sad, really.
my
But
big feeling on this is, and this is like an interesting feeling. You're going into Star Wars, and they're announcing all these other series and sagas and whatever, right? But Star Wars, the main saga, the Skywalker saga, is done for now. I have a feeling if these films perform well, they stick to that. If these films suddenly start all making under 1 billion in a decade, once they wrap up these films, you're gonna see, oh, episode 10, 11, and 12 announced, and it's gonna be like, oh, it's in the future, and you're gonna see the descendants of Rey and all that. It's like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna go back to beating the Skywalker, like beat the dead horse, I guess.
it's just going to be bloody 7, 8, and 9 again.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. So, I mean, we're gonna talk way more about Star Wars because, by the sounds of it, we're gonna know way more details sooner rather than later, according to Disney. So,
And I'm excited to see what they have planned for like the Game of Thrones stuff. Like if it is or whatever. Like Ryan Johnson's, that's probably the more interesting one because it's going to be so far detached.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see what it is. I'm just dreading what I think it's probably going to be.
So when you say that, I also agree with that, and I've actually argued with one of my friends. He doesn't like Star Wars anything, but like he likes the prequels. He loves those, but he hates pretty much everything modern. So like we and him constantly butt heads, and he's like, I don't understand how you can make any more movies out of the Star Wars universe. I'm like, look, if Marvel can make different types of films, all set within the same world, and have different shows that have like, a lawyer doing his thing and beating up criminals. Star Wars has multiple galaxies and time periods you can explore. You can tell different stories. I think what's wrong with Star Wars right now, at this instance, is they're too afraid to try anything new, and when they do, fans hate it, like The Last Jedi, so they're being very safe about it. And I'm hoping whatever the TV series is, and whatever this new series is, they can make it look different enough that people are like, oh, okay, I can get behind this new Star Wars. Not just be like, oh, look, that Star Destroyer has a red streak on it. Yay. Like, I don't want more of that. Come on, guys. Yeah. Like, ugh.
Yeah, like, you can tell they're clearly trying to marvel it, where you have like, the episodic nature of everything, even though Star Wars is episodes. But, like, it feels more like a TV show rather than a movie sort of thing. And it's like, we need Star Wars and everything. Like, you're going to have Star Wars on the streaming service. There's going to be Star Wars on, like, TV or, like, Hulu or something like that. You got the Star Wars cartoons. It's going to be everywhere anyway. So I don't know. Like it's a weird one because like obviously they scrapped the EU. It's basically kind of like Marvel just going, no, we're going to get rid of everything from the comics and do our own thing. But I suppose they are cherry picking EU stuff anyway. But
exactly. So yeah, I mean, we'll be talking more about Star Wars way more in the future because it's not stopping anytime soon. This past week, Hollywood saw a giant shift into how it's going to operate in the future. During the Super Bowl, Netflix releases 10 Cloverfield Lane, like, teaser trailer, and it says, movie's out. Or, not 10 Cloverfield Lane, Cloverfield Paradox. I got that name right. And they're like, go watch it right after the game. It was literally the moment the last game ended, like, seconds after. It's like, all right, go watch this movie.
I'm pretty sure Netflix crashed after the game.
Dude, I was having problems starting to stream it. Like, it was like...
See, I was lucky. I didn't know when the Super Bowl finished. But I had it on in the background, but I wasn't really paying attention. So I kind of looked up. I was like, oh, it's finished. I don't know how long it's been, so I just put it on straight away. Yeah. It's just like, yeah. But this is unprecedented. Like, what the heck? Like, what does this mean for like movies in general? Because they brought it off Paramount or whoever it is for like 50 million.
Yep.
And like we don't know how, I assume the amount of people are talking about Cloverfield, everyone watched it.
Oh yeah.
But
and
I don't know, it's just crazy.
Here's the thing I felt great about Cloverfield, and specifically this movie when it came out. It hit with the teaser trailer saying it's coming in like 2 hours essentially, right? Because that's when the game was projected to end. And suddenly nobody knew what it was. There wasn't a single review. There was nothing. The fan base was all together just getting hyped for it. And then it took like 10 hours after it to officially see the reviews and the hatred and the fan favorites and all that. So at this one moment in time, nobody knew what it was. It felt like the old day of Cloverfield when they first showed off the trailer and like the viral marketing and people researching it. And I love that. But when you go into this and when you look at what they just did, I think this could honestly, if this movie did good, and I don't see why it probably didn't do good for Netflix, just like Bright did especially good for them, according to them greenlighting a sequel, even though it cost them like $90 million to produce a 2-hour movie. I think this could possibly open the way to, in 3 or 4 years, you're going to see way more of this happening on all the streaming services. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney was like, hey, we're making a movie original for our streaming service, and it's based on X character. You're like, really? Captain Britain the movie? All right, like, I'll take it. I think this opens the floodgates for all that.
I tend to agree with that. Yeah, like, and like back to the whole like, there was just that moment where everyone was just hyped for it. There was no preconceived notion, and no one's like, look at the Rotten Tomato, look at the Metacritic, look at the like. There's none of that, and you just had this, like, just this glorious like hour of everyone's been like, oh my god, what the heck? Like, I need to watch this movie.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's made people like the movie more, or if that made people hate the movie more when it was reviewed.
Honestly,
I can't figure out which way it went. But
like, I thought what worked great about it was the people that watched it and within an hour had their opinion formed. They're like 6 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 4 out of 10. They had no critical influence to come up with their own decision. Like, it was just people taking it in and liking or hating it, and that's what I really loved about it. And I wish there was more of this. Like, I think I think this needs to happen more, and I really wouldn't be surprised if Netflix tries to make this a yearly thing at the Super Bowl, because it's
apparently though, I think Paramount want Cloverfield 4, or Cloverfield, as I'm dubbing it.
What?
Or even Cloverlord, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, Jesus.
I think they want to release it in theaters, that one. But I wouldn't be surprised if Netflix is like, no, we'll take that off your hands. We'll buy that off your hands.
Like, I won't be surprised if next Super Bowl, Bright's like episode or Bright sequel, they show a 40-second spot and they go on after the game, because that movie got a lot of press. So, and I won't be surprised if other studios right now, the ones that have their own streaming services in development, like Warner Brothers and Disney, are looking at this going, could we pull this off in a couple of years? And there's no reason not to do it. So I think this signified a huge, like, I guess, shift is the best way to say it, and how Hollywood's
I'm saying, like,
you know,
like the Super Bowl is like the biggest event of the year anyway for like advertising stuff. So why not advertise it and drop it that night? Everyone's online anyway. Everyone knew it was dropping after the game. So like, you kind of be dumb not to. The only problem then with everyone doing it, then you're vying for the same position, and you never get this with like an Avengers movie, because they just cost too much. Like, it's only ever going to be the small, unless it comes out that you can actually earn more on a home release in the box office. But I can't doubt that. But I don't know. Like, it's just, as an experience, just like going, oh, it's out now, I'm just gonna sit down, I'll get like some chicken or whatever, and I'll just put it on. And it's like, there was no lines, there was no people, no one making noise. It's just like, I really enjoyed that experience. Probably like one of the best movie experiences I've had for a long time.
Same. It just out of nowhere blindsided us, and we heard rumors like 3 hours before the Super Bowl that this was gonna happen, but nothing was official till it dropped. And like, it was weird, because like, I was just like getting food, and my wife just goes, Cloverfield. And I was like, what? She's like, no, the Cloverfield trailer during the Super Bowl. I was like, you got this confused. So I walk over, and sure enough, there's the rolling head. And then like they show a couple scenes. They're like, on after the big game. And I just like started shaking. I was like, whoa! Like, I was like exploding of joy, you know? Like.
And fun fact, as of recording this right now, we are still 2 days from what it was supposed to be released on. we got it like a week earlier, so it's kind of like, I'm not going to complain.
Not at all. Good time. I guess now we can actually talk about Cloverfield Paradox proper. Now, I will just start us off by saying I actually really enjoyed this movie.
Same. Like, when admittedly, I've kind of, my opinion of it's gone down slightly since I've watched it. The more I thought about it, the more it's kind of like, it was okay. I didn't love it as much as I did initially, but I think I was just wrapped up in everything for that. But like, as a movie, I still enjoyed it. I think it was a good Cloverfield movie, even though there's no definition of a Cloverfield movie. Some people are trying to make one, but it's like, what is a Cloverfield movie? But no, I enjoyed it. It answered some questions. It gave us more. It made it a bit interesting.
So, spoiler talk, obviously, here for you guys. In case you haven't seen it, go watch it. In case you don't care, listen to it anyway, and you're gonna be confused, whatever. But here we go. So what I like is it does tie 10 Cloverfield Lane and the first Cloverfield movie into one semi-explanatory way. Now, the thing that I got from it is the fact that it explains, like, at the end of the movie, we see the giant clover monster. That's what I'm going to call him. I don't know what the official name is.
Which I assume is the mother, because Abrams said the one in the Cloverfield was just a baby.
Right. Which, here's what makes me confused is, if that's the mother, and this movie takes place in 2028, which we know it does, and the original attack happened in 2008, right? So, no one just mentions that attack happened, like, that there was monsters or something, so it's like, did they
here's the thing,
other universe? Is that where they ended up? Or, like, there's still some kind of confusion and questions left regarding it.
Like, if you look at the poster, like, you look at 10 Cloverfield Lane, it says, like, monsters don't always blah, 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 blah. This one, it says the future unleashes everything. So it's one of those time things where, obviously, like, the future's done the cock up and it's affecting the past. You know, they say, like, Daniel Bruhl's every other line is, like, that everything's vying for one spot.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously space-time's just colliding and everything. What I want to know is Cloverfield and 10 Cloverfield Lane two Earths or one? Because one can still make sense, because if everything's vying for one spot, it can still be on one Earth, and then, like, everything's just popping in and out.
So, I honestly feel that the, like, where her husband was and he ends up in the bunker, I feel that that's the 10 Cloverfield Lane version.
But you saw the Clover monster when he got the kid.
Right, and it's like going through fire, but it's not physically there. I think it was just kind of like phasing, if that makes sense. Like everything was kind of merging because the aliens are in the 10 Cloverfield, lane, but then on the other Earth, it's like weird. So I honestly think the original Cloverfield is still another universe we don't see. But it's like, this is just kind of explaining that they end up in every multiverse, which is like, all right, that's fair enough, because they had Donald Logue's character deliver literally, like, let me give you exposition to explain the plot of Cloverfield. Like 2 minutes of exposition here.
And there's some nice changes as well, because the station at the start is the Cloverfield station.
Yep.
And then by the end, it's the Helios.
And like, also, I went back and watched the ending of the original Cloverfield, and you distinctly see when they're on, like, the Ferris wheel or whatever, right?
Something drop in the ocean.
Right. They turn it around and something drops in the ocean, and it's even hinted at that that's what possibly woke up a monster in their universe. So I'm like, did some sort of, like, time displacement, multi-universe thing cause a piece of the station to fall in there, and that's what woke it up? Like, so I think they're doing a good job of tying it.
That was the confusing part for me, because you had obviously the other universe's station that they went to crash land in the ocean. You don't know if it was the same one or if it was the same location. So at the first I was like, oh, that's the Cloverfield one. Yeah. And Cloverfield isn't art, like, the one they started off, I'm going to say, is R1. So that, like, lane happened in our universe. And it's like, oh no, but they drop in there as well. But they've dropped in. It kind of has to be the 10 Cloverfield Lane one, because everything's already happened, but it's also got the Clovers in it. Or has this movie affected 10 Cloverfield Lane to be done by the Clover monsters? Like, it's not. It's one of those where it's like, here's your answers, but your answer is just another question.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm kind of okay with that, because if they would have explained everything, then the mystery of Cloverfield suddenly makes the first movie kind of.
Well, it ruins the whole thing, because the entire thing of Cloverfield is just like, what exactly is going on.
So I like that they kind
of... Is it connected, is it not? Like...
Yeah, which is why I like it's like, oh, we explain some stuff, here you go, but we're doing just enough to make you question more of the same theories that you've had, which is like, that's what they should have done, that's what they did, and it's like, I like that. So overall, I like the movie. I'm not saying it's perfect. It's definitely the worst of the Cloverfields, don't get me wrong, but...
I don't know. Would I put? I think. I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch all three again to see if I think it's the worst one. Well, I think for now it might be. But
the thing is, like, the first one was so refreshing, and it was all
Yeah.
that viral stuff that got it big. 10 Cloverfield Lane clearly was the least Cloverfieldy up until the reshoots changed the complete ending of it to be Cloverfield, right? So
Yeah.
it's you don't.
But people are saying that this movie was like had like ham-fisted Cloverfield connections in it. Like, apparently from the writers and everything, it was just always this way. Like it was always meant to be. Like it was never not meant to be anything else. Even though Scott Derrickson doesn't remember working on it, which is quite fun.
Well,
He's like, "Oh, that turned into a Cloverfield movie?" It's like, "Yes, Scott Derrickson it did."
well, that's like the thing, and from what I understand, it's like these Cloverfield movies, like 10 Cloverfield Lane and Paradox, and the next one, Overlord, are all actually these scripts that have been floating around Hollywood for like 15 years, and nobody ever wants to produce them. And Abrams is like, "Can we make this into Cloverfield?" So it's like
I'm perfectly fine if you can just find a way to connect it through that. I'm perfectly fine with that.
same.
Like I don't give a like if they're bad or not. Like not everything's going to be good. Just like put it under Cloverfield. I'm perfectly happy with that. It's already the Black Mirror of the movie world.
Yup.
Or like the Twilight Zone or whatever. So why not?
Yeah, and I'm 100% okay with that. Honestly, like that's a
And
great
plus,
way to
like
take it.
with what's this called? The Cloverfield paradox. Everything makes it doesn't necessarily quote make sense, but what they've done, the whole oh yeah, we cracked the Higgs boson, and it's just literally butt fisted the multiverse and time.
Yeah.
Like nothing makes sense, but it doesn't have to make sense.
No.
It's just explained by that. So Nazi zombie robots, whatever we're getting in Overlord, fine, it works.
I saw people being like, the science in this movie doesn't make sense, and I actually ended up arguing with one of my friends. And
I hate that.
And that's what he said. He was like, "Yo, the science just doesn't make sense. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen." I was like, "Oh, okay. Go ahead and tell me then how your movie of the decade factors love into time travel and it makes sense." He was like, "No, you don't understand. Like, Interstellar's the best movie ever." I was like, "Just stop. Like, come on. It's science fiction, okay? You have to make up stuff as you go."
Until we actually can travel multiverse dimensions and time ourselves, nothing makes sense.
Right.
Nothing's a quote real fiction. Science fiction can be whatever the hell it wants to be because it's fiction. It's like Ant-Man doesn't make sense. How could an old guy lift up like an entire ventilation unit and then drag a building?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. He wouldn't be strong enough. So
just buy into it because it's science fiction.
Yeah.
There you go. Crazy people.
Or Henny or something like that, and he's flicking his eye and his eyes going all over the place and his skin stretching. I was like, the other universe you's going to be inside you or something like that. But no, it was just apparently the whatever it was. I can't remember that.
The worms.
No, the machine part that the arm.
Oh yeah, the part inside of him. Like that was pretty sick. Ugh.
And that completely subverted what I thought it was going to be.
Same.
It's also nice that this is probably the first sort of movie of it is that's for a while anyway that's done the whole if you shift into something that's not meant to be there, you will probably merge with it.
Oh yeah.
Becky had the wires through her leg and he had the thing in the worms inside of him. Just thank you that someone's finally done this again.
Yeah, I know. That was a great scene. I enjoyed both of those when she was just kind of in there. We should cut her out. She has wires sticking through her.
Yeah. When his arm was right and cut him open, I was like, this is going to do a shield time loop. Yeah. Is that what we're in for? And it's kind of we didn't actually. We don't necessarily know if we get that. Actually, it could that could be Cloverlord, but
true. Well, I guess we'll find out once the fourth movie comes out how they aim to tie that into it, or maybe they
Which
don't.
Which is apparently already filmed, so it could be a year, or it could be next week. We don't know.
Apparently, it still has an October release date, but I'm hoping they bump that just into next year to free it up a little bit. But I guess we'll see.
With how they've been announcing and releasing these movies, it's probably already out. We just don't know about it.
We're gonna go on to Netflix. It was out yesterday.
Yeah, and then you'll get the announcement next month.
Hey. Finally, box office talk, Mitch. What an interesting time where Jumanji keeps on owning the box office.
It did, but as we said, The Maze Runner did take number one when it came out. It then instantly lost it the next week and the week afterwards. This week. So.
I mean,
it's still got it's made more than Thor. It's how is a Jumanji movie with Jack Black and The Rock making more And that's
Right.
the whole movie. I don't know.
So here's the thing. I've heard so much good about it. Like I've never even seen the original. It just came out at a time where like I was never. Yeah, I know. That's how everybody
To be
reacted.
fair, the original is a really bad movie, but like it's just got that like cultural
Yeah,
touchstone of it all. So.
that's what I've heard. So like I went into this one to watch it, and I was like pleasantly surprised and really enjoyed it. Like I don't like Kevin Hart in anything I've ever seen him in, but he was good in this. Like The
See, I
Rock.
like Kevin Hart, but I'm fully aware that he's very one note. But
Yep.
again, in this, as you say, like he's not that one note; he's a different one. So
Yeah.
it's quite nice.
And like Jack Black was exactly what I think his strengths were, which is always great. The Rock was just The Rock. He's quippy one-liners, which is exactly what you should hire him for. Karen Gillan was awesome. My boy Nick Jonas was great. So like, dude, I love Nick Jonas as an actor. So like, it's
Put that on the poster. My boy Nick Jonas was great.
quote me on that. Somebody said it. Like
One person in the history of anything that said my boy Nick Jonas.
well, you should watch the series of him and Frank Grillo, Kingdom, where he's like an MMA fighter. He's really good.
I can't imagine a Jonas brother, a little Disney kid being an MMA fan.
I know it's pretty impressive. And you can see when they sometimes use a stunt double because he's more muscular, but it's okay. I really enjoyed the movie, and when I look at this last week's box office, it's like Jumanji took first place, Maze Runner second, Winchester third, and then
Never heard of Winchester.
I've never heard of it. I was like, what is I thought it was about the gun, like the Winchester gun. But I
Yeah,
guess
that's
not.
what I thought. I was a Shaun of the Dead sequel. That's cool,
Yeah.
but nope.
Nope. So, like, when you look at the box office, I think what I've learned in the last year of box offices, never underestimate anything anymore. Like, it's been flipped upside down. Like,
I mean, just look at what is it? Is it The Post or is it Postal? The Meryl Streep movie.
yeah,
Like that was below The Greatest Showman a
Yep.
couple of weeks back. It's now still above it. So that one's still just chugging along. Like, it's crazy.
I mean, Star Wars is still somehow chugging along, bringing in like $2.3 million. That's pretty good.
Oh, I just what I was saying about earlier about the movie pass. It's the movie passes have brought in 128 million for the Oscar movies.
Jesus.
That's what it's just literally clicked in my head.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's that's great to get the Oscar movies more money. They deserve the attention. So
It's impressive how it's been going on. And
yeah.
I mean, looking at the future of the box office, I know there's quite a few big old question marks coming around the corner, because like we know that Black Panther is going to be huge.
Yep.
We know that starting like end of April, from that point on up until the end of the year, it's just a storm of blockbusters. There's literally no pause. So
Well, if you think about it, Ant-Man and the Wasp is probably going to be the first time there's 3 Marvel movies in cinemas. Like,
yeah.
Unless they take Black Panther out quickly, like it's still going to be there at the same time. So you could, in theory, if it's all still there, do a triple feature. No.
I mean, it depends on how the worldwide release for Panther is, because there has been times where movies from Marvel like twice have overlapped. Like one movie overlaps with the other. But yeah, it's like it's such quick succession that they're releasing it, because you have Panther, and like 2 months after you have, like Infinity War, and then you have Deadpool, which is Fox, but it's Marvel Disney, I guess.
Yeah.
Then you have Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like it's a really rapid fire this spring/summer for Marvel, and they're definitely going to be making bank. But you also got to look at some of the other movies that are coming. Like, there's a lot of stuff on the horizon, which you just got to think, man, there's a lot of competition coming out. And even this coming up weekend, like, it's the weekend before the storm of Black Panther. So, like,
Yeah, literally, 'cause
Jumanji's
it
probably
comes
going to be
in-
number one, right? Like, Jumanji's going to win it out again.
Domestically, yeah, I'd imagine, because Black Panther comes out Tuesday here. So yeah, literally the Tuesday coming up. So I'd imagine Jumanji wouldn't have next week's. Because when does Black Panther come out for you? It's 4 days after us, isn't it? So it's the 17th or something.
Yeah, we got it the 15th. I can go see it on the 12th, but I'm not. So, because I have to drive like 4 hours. Ugh. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd imagine the second Black Panther's out, Jumanji's done.
Oh God, yeah.
The fact that Jumanji stayed #1 longer than a Star Wars movie is insane. No, I would never have said that movie would have got to #1.
Dude, I remember
I thought
like
it was just gonna fizzle out.
6 months ago, the tracking for Jumanji was like it will struggle to hit $400 million. Meanwhile, it doubles that.
I was gonna say it's close to 900. Like it's pretty crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. Make a good movie, you make money. Simple as that.
What?
Simple as...
Whoa, is that some sort of trickery math that DC should learn? Like...
See, I was going to avoid saying that name, but you know, I was just going to allude to it. It's like you know who you are, as that one Black Panther review did. So other studios, you know who you are.
Oh, throwing shades, throwing shades. Yep. So that brings us to the end of the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We got quite a few topics covered in here, and a bonus one there at the beginning with the movie pass. So, you know, hopefully it's a good weekend, and we know Black Panther is coming, so we'll definitely be talking about those box office numbers, because I am so hyped to see what that movie does, because every single day it's like, and another record, and another uptick in... I'm like, what is happening?
Well, it's now like, I think it's beaten every movie for Fandango's first quarter history. So, like, no movie in the first quarter of the year for Fandango's had more sales. So.
My God.
I give up.
Yeah.
It's going to make, like, 300 million at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I still don't know if it's going to hit $1 billion. Like, if it needs to make 500 million domestic, realistically for that, but I don't know if it's going to have that kind of legs. It'd be crazy if it does have that kind of legs. It's be like, whoa.
I will say this. People expected, the original expectation for Fast and the Furious 6 was like 550 million worldwide. It made like double that. So yeah. I'm never underestimating the foreign and like the Hispanic market or anything ever again. Like, for all we know, this movie could come out and it's literally going to make like 300 million just US. Like, we have no idea what this movie's about to do. It's insane. Yeah. I don't even get it.
Because like the numbers I'm interested in the most are the Chinese ones. Because the Chinese ones aren't like... They're in a bit of an oxymoron at the minute, because they're not a fan of black actors.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you look at the Star Wars post, they always hide Boyega on them. But at the same time, they love the Marvel movies, and Chadwick Boseman is their most popular American actor. So they're in just this spiral, and like this little Ouroboros of like, do we hate it? Do we like it? Do we hate it? Do we like it? It's just like, what is it gonna do in China? I just don't know.
I'm expecting if it does semi-decent the first week, the marketing for China is just going to explode to focus on it, and it's going to be one of those things where it maintains or even rises the second week over there. Yeah. So
it's just going to be the opposite of The Last Jedi, where it's like, oh, you've seen it that one weekend? Well, good luck seeing it again. Goodbye.
The Last Jedi in China was literally like... what's the best
It might as well not even have bothered.
I think they actually wasted money marketing the movie. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. So like,
I can guarantee the next one won't come out in China.
Good, like save that for the Marvel movies.
Yeah. Just like they didn't have the originals, so don't bother with the new ones. Like,
yep.
Unless they actually release the originals, so they can kind of get that sense of it, but I doubt it.
Yeah, it was a cultural thing though, so it's like, you know, you have to be there at the time, so it's like, it is what it is. So until next time, guys, go see your local movies. Go see Jumanji, I guess, because it's the best choice out there, because apparently Maze Runner 3 or 4?
3. Apparently it's really bad. Which makes me want to watch it even more.
So apparently it's real bad. So go book the ticket on that one. But don't. Just don't.
But do.
Or use your movie pass and see it for practically free. There you go.
Yeah. Make sure it's the third one of the month and your quid's in. So.
Tie it all around.